My name's Kevin Dixon, and back in the 1620s, Torbay was the haunt of the notorious pirate John Nutt. We first hear of John, who was born in Lympston, a little bit further up the coast, in around 1620 when he was active off the coast of Newfoundland. He went there as a normal mariner, but while he was there he decided to turn pirate, and he captured 3 ships off the coast of Newfoundland. He then developed a little bit of a reputation as a pirate, but he also protected some of the colonies off the Newfoundland coast, and that's a story I'll come on to a little bit later. John Nutt then relocated to Torbay, where he set up a pirate base, and we know this because of all the concerns that were actually coming in. And at one time he became so powerful he was taking anything up to 12 ships a week from the sort of South Devon coast. This became such a problem that the local authorities instructed the Royal Navy to do what they actually could to try and suppress John, but he was very powerful. One of the things about being a pirate, Oz, is that the more ships that you take, the richer you got, the more bribes you could actually offer, the better ships you could buy. And also you could start recruiting other sailors, some really skilled mariners. And he actually even managed to attract some sailors from the Royal Navy. So he was a very powerful man. In response, the government instructed John Elliot, the Vice Admiral of Devon, to actually apprehend John Nutt. He realised he couldn't do it directly. John Nutt was just too powerful. So what the Vice Admiral did was he came up from Dartmouth and he approached John Nutt. John Elliot approached John Nutt in Torbay, and he actually found John Nutt there with a captured Colchester vessel, which was full of some really sort of expensive goods that he just appropriated. There was a little bit of a ruse there. This is where history gets a little bit more complicated. It looks as though John Elliot, the Vice Admiral, approached John Nutt and said, look, here's a pardon. You've always been after a pardon, so here's the pardon, sign it. So they signed this document over a bottle of wine, and we've got a little bit of a description of this. However, it was a ruse. That pardon, although it had been offered, was actually out of date. The offer then was that John Nutt would surrender his own ship along with this valuable Colchester vessel, sail it over to Dartmouth in return for this pardon. However, he was betrayed. He was immediately arrested. The word got out that all his crew, up to about 100 sailors, were actually going to be imprisoned or drafted into the Royal Navy. However, this then got back to the government, and there was an enormous row over this. John Elliot was actually imprisoned in a reversal of fate because it was seen as a bit of betrayal, and this is where the previous connections we actually had, that John Nutt had with his friends over in Newfoundland, where he'd done a lot of favours over there, paid off. And so John Nutt the pirate got his pardon. John Elliot the Vice Admiral was imprisoned in Marshalsea, which was a really sort of unpleasant place to be. The next thing we hear about John Nutt is he goes back to piracy, and he joins up with some Barbary pirates in the Bristol Channel. Then everything goes quiet. We don't know what happened to John Nutt. We don't know where he ended up. What may have happened is that he went back to Torbay, but we'll never know. Torbay was that pirate base. He made lots of friends here. He had family on shore, and because he was doing lots of favours and producing all of these goods which he was selling on cheaply, he had lots of friends here. And I like to think that he'd come back to Torbay, and he is John Nutt, the Torbay pirate.
Would we know why he picked this area?
It looks like John Nutt picked this area just because it's a wonderful wide bay, and so it was quite a long way from the sort of big Royal Navy bases. So a long way from Plymouth, quite a long way from a little bit of around the coast from Dartmouth. It's enclosed. There's a lot of space here, and he had lots of friends locally. So he had these local seafaring communities. You know, Brixham, Paynton, not so much Torquay because it was still too small. But he was welcomed and he was supported, and this is where his family was based.
Thank you very much.